You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. Gold, crude oil, corn, soybeans, and more. With so many tradable products, the futures options market can be an intimidating place. How can you possibly keep track of the latest trading developments across so many different products? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Welcome to This Week in Futures Options, the program designed to help active futures options traders stay on top of this ever-changing marketplace. Each week, we'll break down the top trades, hot products, volatility explosions, and much more. This Week in Futures Options streams live, so be sure to check out our live stream via the Mixlr app. That's MIXLR. Or join our live chat room at mixlr.com/options-insider. Whether you're an experienced veteran or a newcomer looking to separate the wheat from the lean hogs, This Week in Futures Options has the information you can't find anywhere else. This Week in Futures Options is brought to you by CME Group, the world's leading and most diverse futures and options exchange. For more information and educational resources about futures options at CME Group, visit cmegroup.com/options. And now, get ready to break down the latest futures options trading activity. It's time for This Week in Futures Options.
Welcome to This Week in Futures Options, live to tape here from the scenic and sunny Options Industry Conference this year. A lot of great guests working their way through the Southern studio for the benefit of you folks out there. Great stuff, a lot of great conversations, touching on a lot of great areas of the space, including a lot of futures and indeed options on futures talk. So if you're intrigued by all of that, make sure you're checking out the full network. Of course, if you're hanging out there on the pro, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. All of that content is hitting you guys first. In fact, some of that's already up there. So hope you're enjoying the slew of content that is heading your way. Look forward to more coming very soon out there. But like we said, we're in the middle of the Options Industry Conference. We've got more guests coming in and out. So it's going to be a Just the Facts, ma'am edition as we head right on into the Movers and Shakers Report.
It's time to find out what's rallying on the light side and falling to the dark side at CME Group this week. It's time for the Movers and Shakers Report.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Movers and Shakers Report, the portion of the show where we break down everything lighting it up to the light side and to the dark side over there at CME Group this week. Remember, if you want to see this report for yourselves, head on over to @Options. We put out the graph, the premium chart, if you will, from Bantix for the week for the Movers and Shakers. You too can see exactly how the week is shaping up to the light side and to the dark side. And if you looked at that chart this week, you would see we are pretty heavily biased to the green again this week. I'd say we're pretty much 65-35, maybe 70-30 green over red. Also, the largest percentage mover is to the upside. We'll get there in a little bit, but let's dive right on in, listeners. And since we're talking upside, let's just keep the party going. To the light side we go, kicking it off. Number 5 It is the E-mini S&P MidCap 400, up 2.36% this week, followed by number 4. It is our old pal Bitcoin. Don't tell Uncle Mike, coming up in a little bit for the option blog. Don't tell Uncle Mike. 2.87% to the upside. It was number 3 in the same direction last week, up 4.64%. So another good couple of weeks on the crypto front. Bitcoin flirting with 100K again. That rising tide tends to lift all boats. Number 3, it's gold, up 3.75%. So can we get back to that lofty 3,500 plus level? I don't know if we can get there anytime soon, but you'll take nearly 4% if you're a gold bull out there right now. Number 2, an actually somewhat quiet week for NatGas, only up, I put only in air quotes, only up 4.92%. We've seen NatGas swinging double digits week after week out there, so sub 5%. It's still good enough for number 2, but that's actually somewhat quiet for NatGas. For frame of reference, listeners, last week it was number 1 in the same direction, up 16.83%. So you could see how I would say up a little bit less than 5%, bit of a quiet week for NatGas. And then number 1, light side, also our number 1 percentage mover on Twifo for the week. It is oats, up 9.59%. I beat this drum. Don't ask us to break down the options volume on oats, listeners, because there really isn't much. But nonetheless, it is a big percentage mover. If this was the futures rundown today, we probably will be talking oats. Instead, we're going to keep on rolling to the dark side. We go, listeners. Number 5 to the dark side. It is the healthcare sector of the S&P. So all is not sunny in S&P land right now, listeners. If you're focusing on the healthcare sector, it's been a bit of a beating, off 1.73% this past week. Number 4 to the land of the livestock we go. It is lean hogs, off 1.79%. Number 3, dead trees back on the docket, listeners. Lumber off 2.17%. Number 2, to the land of the beans again we go. Soybean oil this time, off 3.81%. And our number 1 dark side mover, keeping it in the ags, it is corn, listeners, off 5.12%. Again, you could see our dark side top percentage mover almost half of what the light side top mover is this week. But we're not done, not by a long shot, listeners. To the world of CVOL we go, listeners. Remember, you guys can, and gals, of course, you guys and gals can run these reports for yourselves. Just head on out to CME Group and CVOL into whatever browser you prefer. That will get you to the CVOL dashboard. Then you're going to set that high-low range to 1 week. You're going to go for a group list, and you're going to select the aggregates tab. And that will get you to this report we're looking at right now. And another slightly mixed bag on the CVOL front. I'd say most of the bias is to the downside. But we've got a couple exceptions, including at the top of our list, the ag vol. Remember, we just talked about a lot of ags moving to the dark side this week. Got lean hogs, of course, livestock, but that fits under the ags column. You've got soybean oil, and you got corn. If you want to throw the softs in there, lumber is in there too. So you got 4 of our dark side bottom 5 ags adjacent at the very least. So that might explain why we're seeing a little bit of spice on the ag CVOL this week. Ag CVOL 1990, up about half a point just today. That is also the high for the week, the low 18.76. So over a point worth of range on the ag CVOL this week. Below it, we have the Treasury price vol, 6.84, coming in 0.42. You may say that sounds like a lot, and it is, but also we just had the Fed yesterday. So post-Fed day, you're going to see Treasury price vol probably coming in, and that is the case this week. Treasury price vol pinning the needle to the dark side right now. The high 7.76, so nearly a full point worth of range in Treasury price vol. We don't see that too often, but then again, we're all living through some rarefied markets right now. Below it, we have the FX CVOL, 10.16, off about half a point itself today as well. So FX vol coming crashing back to earth. That is the low for the week, the high 10.85. Below it, we have the commodities CVOL, 39.05, off 0.81 just today. That also is the low for the week, the high 40.56. So almost exactly a 1.5 point range, 1.51 points to be precise on the week. And we're pinning the needle to the dark side right now on the commodities CVOL. Below it, we have the metals CVOL. And this is another one that's kind of bucking the trend, 23.84, off over a point, off 1.07 points just today. So again, post-Fed, seeing metals vol coming crashing back to earth a little bit as well. Interestingly enough, though, that is not the low for the week. The low is actually 22.14. So we have bounced off the lows. The high was 24.91. So we're not at the highs either. We're kind of hanging out towards the middle upper band of that range right now, which is kind of fascinating. Either way, metals CVOL 23.84. Below it, we have the aggregate energy CVOL, listeners. 58, pretty much even, off about 1.12 points on the day. That is also the low for the week. The high 62.88. So quite a move in energy vol this week. It's going to happen though when you have some production decisions from OPEC Plus. Energy aggregate CVOL coming crashing back to earth, down nearly 5 points this week, about 4.85 points on the week, and pinning the needle to the bottom of its weekly range right now. And at the bottom of our list, it is the Treasury yield vol, 125.16, off 6.67 points just today. Again, post-Fed, we're seeing a lot of action on the rates of vol this week. That is the low print, the low tick for the week. The high was 139.92, so 14, almost 15 handle range on Treasury yield vol this week. So a wild week on the CVOL front. A couple of names bucking the trend to the upside, but most of them getting sucked to the downside this week. That's going to do it for the CVOL movers and shakers. It's also going to do it for this Just the Facts, ma'am edition of Twifo. Remember, stay tuned to the network for more great content coming to you from the Options Industry Conference. And while you're staying tuned for things, if you like a little bit of futures and futures options talk, and you want to check out the first episode of a brand new program hitting the network. It's called the European Market Brief, and surprise, surprise, it's going to be all about the European derivatives market, so we don't get a chance to talk about it a lot. And I also know a lot of you have asked over the years for a little bit of a glimpse, a little bit of a peek inside the studio. Well, you're going to get that on Tuesday, May 13th, 10 a.m. Central. That's when we're going live on the European Market Brief. It's also going to have a video component, so if you want to see that, you want to join that live, you got to head on over to our website, theoptionsinsider.com. Click on the shows tab for the European Market Brief. Once you're there, you'll see a registration form to join. It is effectively a live video stream of that first show. Should be a fun time, so we're looking forward to it out there. European Market Brief, Tuesday, May 13th. Join us if you are interested. And of course, we'll see you back here throughout the rest of the week for more great content coming from the Options Industry Conference. Then we're back again next Thursday, another episode of This Week in Futures Options. Stay safe out there, everybody.
This Week in Futures Options is brought to you by CME Group, the world's leading and most diverse futures and options exchange. CME Group's markets help individuals and businesses around the world manage risks and seize opportunities. CME Group offers the deepest and most liquid options on futures across all asset classes, including interest rates, equity indexes, foreign exchange, energy, agriculture, and metals. For more information and educational resources about futures options at CME Group, visit cmegroup.com/options. This broadcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute trading advice or the solicitation of purchases or sale of any futures or options. The rulebook of the applicable exchange should be consulted as the authoritative source on all current contract specifications. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.